It is March 4th, 2026 at 4:35.
Oh, AIPAC meeting.
Yeah.
No, she was fine.
All right, it's 4:36 p.m. on March 4th. I am going to go ahead and call this AIPAC meeting to order. My name's Amber Greensky, and I am the AIPAC co-chair. I am going to start off with asking for introductions of the people online. Do we have anyone online?
Could we post a gallery view? Just so that it's not just
Hi, I'm parent.
Bonjour Brenda, bonjour Don. If we could go around and do quick introductions in the room.
Jamie Della Cruz. Staff.
Dustin Christian, parent.
Lydia Shingle, parent.
Ray Black, staff member. Marisa Garber Carrera, director of Advancing Equity.
Hello, Jen Murray. Don Melton's best friend. I was going to say you should have told him to put his Oh, he shut off his camera.
Yeah, and his microphone.
There he is. Okay, I'll behave.
I'm a Beaujolais, and I'm a student here at Denville.
What's up, nephew? Coach.
Mr. Bonds, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Anthony Bonds, Assistant Superintendent.
Oh, Amber Sadowski, School Board.
Kelly Eater, school board.
GP Rehnquist, American Indian Ed, and Denfeld parent and uncle.
Welcome, Mr. May. We're just introducing ourselves. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Chip Hovain, ALC.
And you are an American Indian School
American
liaison.
Indian, yeah. American Indians, liaison. ALC.
Bonjour, thank you, welcome everyone for attending tonight. I don't believe we have any meeting minutes provided at this point. So next on the agenda is committee member reports.
And just to follow up on the minutes, how did you want to do that? We didn't receive any minutes, right?
So I thought we had talked about this in the previous meeting, and that was going to be on you guys' end. I might be mistaken.
So my understanding is that we had talked about you all being responsible for notes because there was a worry about the AI generated notes.
I think that you're referring to something that occurred into a Title VI meeting.
I thought we had the same conversation here as well. So I had brought up
I think she did this.
that to each committee around 15 notes.
support. And either holding an election for an official secretary, somebody whose role it is, but in the absence of that, we really need district support. We just had a couple other people enter the room. If you don't mind introducing yourselves.
Jameson Magwitch.
Hillary Cole.
Tim Paul.
Okay.
Let me just get Eddie.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah. We're on the agenda still. No,
Oh, don't
the
pull that
agenda.
one up. Don't pull that one up.
The agenda.
I didn't forget it.
It should be in the.
It's on the calendar, but I'm sorry.
Did you really need to go with me?
Oh, this one right here.
You want to share?
Yeah, scroll down, it'll say 14.
Yes. I still have your tea.
Yeah, it's page 14.
Thank you, Eddie, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so just so we're clear, I think around the minutes, we would request that all committees take their own notes, and we are happy to assist with providing the AI notes that we can sift through for, the basic things for you all to bring for approval. So do you want us to bring that to the next committee meeting?
I really think this is the role of a secretary, right? Otherwise, who are you bringing it to?
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
So do you think we need to hold
yes, we've been needing to hold an
Yeah.
officer election since the fall. We're waiting for a coordinator, and that is on our agenda.
Okay.
So that's. Is there somebody making comment online?
They're just note takers.
Oh, okay. So yes, absolutely having an officer election is absolutely necessary. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't recall. Is it in your bylaws that the secretary is the recorder of AIPAC meetings?
Let's pull them up and just
I don't believe
see.
so. We haven't had a secretary, like a dedicated appointed secretary for AIPAC for a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah, but we included that in
But not all-
last year's and this year's
Okay,
bylaws.
but not all secretaries on a committee are the recorder of the meeting. They are the holder, the placeholder, the archivist, so to speak, of your meeting minutes. And sometimes they'll sign off that they were approved by the committee, but they're not necessarily designated in all committees as the recorder.
I don't think our bylaws give descriptions of what officer jobs are.
Okay.
That's probably,
The description in the duties of the officers are, for secretary, are maintains meeting minutes, attendance records, and committee correspondence. I guess there's question on what maintains records could be, like you're saying,
Normally,
they're
yeah,
not
they maintain,
officially-
so if the chair, the committee in a meeting will say something of, like, August of 2019, we discussed, that person should be able to pull it up.
Yes.
Because they're the one that's
Yes.
holding it. So that's something to look at.
Yes.
If you want to be more clear moving forward.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's very good advice.
Does anyone else want my last copy of the black notes?
I believe last year when we were when I was reviewing the budget, didn't we purchase a note-taking app for our office support person?
That, if we did it, expired. And we haven't renewed it, but we can.
Okay. Well, that might be just something to discuss, right? Like, if no use in, if it's not gonna be utilized, we don't need to spend the funds on it. Or the license gets bought in the name of whoever the secretary is. if
I
that's
know,
the
I was
person.
trying
Yeah.
accounts, and then whoever could log into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then maybe in the next pre-meeting we can discuss election stuff more.
Yeah, I think that just really has to come down to we need support in getting word out to our American Indian community, because this isn't just a parent committee. It's there's a lot of people who would be eligible to fill that role. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing to discuss with the coordinator. Because we do have recordings, and we can very easily go back and do the whole AI kind of thing. I'm going to move on from that for right now and ask if there are any committee member reports.
Amber, do you want me to just give like a brief update on the work with police? I know, I think a few months ago it was brought up that we were working with OCBR, the Office of Conflict Resolution, to go over bylaws, and there's been some conversation, continued conversation about what that looks like for the committee and what quorum means, and grievance stuff. And so there's been weekly meetings for the past, I'd say, month or so. And we were hoping to bring something tonight, but then there was some family emergencies that occurred within the last week, and so we didn't have something. But the hope is that at April's meeting, there'll be something to present to the committee for review and approval on a grievance procedure, and some suggested updates to the bylaws that are just more inclusive and help the committee move forward. So that the plan is at the April meeting to have something for the larger committee to review.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to acknowledge the newcomers online. I see Liz Appleby, John Ramos. Is there anyone else I'm missing up there? Okay.
Mrs. Goldfarb.
Oh yeah, she was up there earlier.
Moving on. If there's no other committee member reports, there is the American Indian Education Coordinator update.
Okay, so we have a laundry list of updates and things. Hi everyone, Cujo, we haven't met you, nice to meet you. I'm Marisa, Director of Advancing Equity. The coordinator role that had, so for time frame, I started October 27th, so it's been less than 5 months that I've been here. We launched that, things got moving in December for the coordinator. As you know, this has been a challenge for us in the district of turnover and maintaining and retaining a coordinator. And Anthony and I co-owned that process. And there was also a lot of things that happened in the last few months, including all of the ICE presence that took up a lot of unexpected time in January, that kind of slowed this process down. But unfortunately, we have had an unsuccessful search to find a coordinator, and so we will be coming up with a new plan for a coordinator. I've had conversations with a lot of folks, including we talked to tribal leaders last Friday at tribal consultation to get their ideas on how can we improve this process. And Jen and I have also been talking around how currently what we're doing is not working, and so how can we go back to the drawing board to create a better process. So Jen and I are going to be sitting down and spending a day few folks around the state. This is a statewide challenge, finding, hiring, training, onboarding. That's something that I've also pushed the state on of like how is the state supporting us through this? I've also said the only good thing about not having a coordinator is that it's forced me to do the job, and now I feel much more equipped to eventually support somebody when they come on board. So there's been many challenges there, but unfortunately, and this is not the result we wanted, and this is not where I want to be either, and I wish that I could announce someone to you all and that we had them on board and they're starting, but unfortunately we are not there. And you can feel free to ask questions, but you also know that we have to maintain confidentiality, so there's a lot of details that we are not allowed to speak to because of that. And so that is the big update there. Anthony or Jen, anything that I missed before we ask for questions?
How many candidates were interviewed?
5. I can double check.
Okay. And
How many applied?
yeah, that's another good question. How many applied?
I believe. Well, so there's an initial number of applied, and then there's the screening, right? So I don't have the number of people who are applied and then were screened out because of they didn't meet the job qualifications or whatever it is. But we followed the SOP, so it was I believe 8 that or no, it was less than 8. So I think it was we interviewed everyone that was qualified, and that met the screener.
So you interviewed everybody who applied that was qualified, who met the minimum bachelor's degree, and offered them an interview for the position.
There are additional things in the screener, Anthony. I don't know if you want to speak to that, and also we can also ask more specific questions to HR because Anthony and I don't do the screening process.
So, yeah, I mean, what question? I mean, I can jump in, but what question you want me to answer?
Yes, I'm hearing 8 people were interviewed according to the SOP we were provided, and less than 8.
Yeah, sorry, I can double check on the numbers.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
I'm pretty sure when I read the SOP, it was you had 8 applicants. You were gonna interview the 8, assuming they met the minimum qualifications, right, or weren't screened out. I'm hearing you interviewed 5, right? And just anecdotally, people in the community talk and tell us as AIPAC members, oh hey, I applied and got a rejection letter, so I'm concerned on. Because we were involved in July in updating this job description, right? And it allowed for, along with the mission statement on the human resource, honoring the unique backgrounds, the additional educational, experiential, and training that would allow someone to do the job. So I guess I'm wondering, of those 5 candidates that interviewed, not one was qualified that met that bar? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, and that's because it was a failed, what we consider unsuccessful search. We really can't get into the details on that level of, details of the process and so forth. If we could, we would. So just know that at the end of the day, we had the process. We interviewed after the screening through HR, candidates roles. We interviewed those individuals that met the qualifications and or were considered viable candidates. After vetting and as required after the interview process, after lots of vetting and consideration, we determined that it was a failed search and that we were going to need to move forward with a new process. So we can't get into the particulars of lots of details on it.
Anthony, I wonder with the confidentiality piece, still being able to, because Amber wasn't a part of that committee. I was on that, so there's within, can I like tell the process was like the interviews?
I guess I just want to know
Right.
your opinion. This would be a good time for your opinion. Did
Well,
you
I
think
can't
there
share
was?
the things that we discussed.
No, I'm just asking
Okay.
your opinion
I mean, I
as
think
far
it-
as whether there was a viable candidate that was interviewed.
Well, so we interviewed as a group, and there was another APAC member there. There's various leadership, teacher, staff. Like I feel there was a good range of people that were on the committee that would be able to ask questions about the different needs of our students or how that applicant would address. Like I think that there was a good representation. It wasn't just admin. And then people were interviewed as an interview committee. We discussed the qualifications, the responses that were given by those applicants. If we, as an interview committee, felt that person was, if we felt was a good fit, or we wanted to have them vetted further by HR, if we wanted them to move forward for further vetting. So that was just the committee made recommendations of, we feel this person would be a good fit, we feel this person wouldn't, this person would, and then what was described to us as interview committee members, then the people that were agreed upon as people that we would want to move forward, that then it goes to HR, and that HR has legal requirements that they have to go through, that the interview committee it's not our ultimate decision of who is hired and who's not hired. It's like a point for input. So like there were people who moved into that vetting stage. So the hiring committee did approve people to go into that vetting stage.
So the hiring committee, what I'm hearing is the hiring committee believed at least some of those candidates interviewed were adequate, met the minimum qualifications to do these job functions. And in all those all five of those people declined the job?
So we followed the SAP and we vetted the folks that were put forward. And again, we can't speak to the details of that. And there's also a lot of things that can happen between interviewing and the outcome. So I think there are things that we can't speak to the details within there. So I think when we say things like there was no one qualified, those are general statements that we're not necessarily saying are true. There's a lot of information that we cannot speak to, I think. And I can certainly ask HR around the number of folks who applied. We followed the SOP, so there were not more than 8 folks, and then we interviewed 5 of those folks. And then I know Jen just joined and has a question.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Is now time? Okay. At what point does the job description need to be revisited? It seems like it's taking a really long time to get a new coordinator. And I'm just wondering if it isn't the applicants or the pool of applicants within the area that is the issue, but could it be the job description itself? I don't know how much longer we can go on like this, continuing to try, because I'm guessing this next round, each round we go through, it kind of lessens the pool. Certainly the same people could continue to apply, but I'm guessing they probably aren't going to if the highest candidates have already been rejected. So I'm just wondering at what point is a new strategy tried?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think that's what Jen and I have been talking about, is going back to the drawing board and centering ourselves in the needs of what we see in the data and the students, which I know you all have been talking about, that data piece a lot. And we brought some data for you in the update to tribal consultation, but I think, I think thing, getting the same result. So how can we move forward differently?
Don, go ahead.
So, to what Jennifer was saying, when I talked around to people, to urban offices, and what the feedback that I personally have gotten was that the job description was too lofty and the pay was too inadequate for the job pool that you were searching for. It might be to a point where it's completely out of bounds for this region. We might seek for guidance through some people at MDE. Maybe I'm not good with the names. Elijah Juan Dotz is probably a person we want to have to reach out to there at MDE.
It's Eli Dotz. He's the tribal liaison, and he's very difficult to get a hold of because at the state level, the American Indian Education Program office right now is understaffed, and they haven't been able to hire people either.
Yeah, I don't like hearing excuses like that. What I like to hear is that we're going to take some sort of action to meet the job pool where it's at. We have a duty in this community to service these kids. The thing is I've seen plenty of times where you guys will hire somebody that is probably not up to par, and then you're going to bring them in, and then you're not going to train them, and we complain till the cows come home that you onboard them properly and give them the proper support. We certainly would like to see change in a positive way moving forward. We don't want to hear excuses. We want to hear about what proactively you're going to be doing to solve the problems at hand. Thank you for your time.
Lydia?
I think about like the job description, we went over the job description in August?
It was 4th of July weekend.
Well, like
Somewhere in the summer.
it was somewhere in the summer. We had the meeting at the Duluth Public Library. I think it was over the summer before the school year started, where we sat down with, I think it was Teresa Severance at the time, and we as a committee went over and gave input on the job description. So the current job description that is being posted and is being operated off of was approved by this committee less than a year ago. And I worry, I feel like there's a balance, like I hear what Dawn is saying, where it's like, are we asking, well, like, is it too lofty? But I also don't want to compromise the position and say we need to make it less, like we want a high quality person. We don't want to just make the job description easier so that more people will apply if that's not what the students need. Like to make it simpler or have less responsibilities so that we'll have more applicants doesn't mean we're going to get good applicants. Like the job description is what we all agreed upon. And I don't want to put somebody in the coordinator position that isn't going to be able to do the job either. So I feel like if we're bringing down the qualifications, are we then hiring a person who has the skills that they need? I feel like finding a balance in there somewhere.
Okay, so I'm going to read a line directly off of the job description that we gave input on in July and we reviewed at end of August. An equivalent combination of education, training, and/or experience totaling 5 years of successfully performing essential functions will also be considered. When we're talking about looking for people who can do these jobs, people who know our federal grants, our state grants, our local community, spreading this wide net to other communities other countries, other states. While I'm not saying they cannot do a good job, we're in the middle of a year. We need somebody local who already has those connections to be able to implement the programming and spend our funding dollars now. And to hear that you found nobody in that candidate pool who fulfilled those duties is concerning to me on an implicit bias level.
I don't think that that's what was, like,
That's not what was communicated out.
that's the committee, when we did the interview committee, there were candidates that did meet those, if I go outside the confidence, like, just stop it. There were candidates who did meet those qualifications and they were voted forward for further vetting by HR. From my understanding, what was described to us by HR, by Marisa, and by Anthony at that is that there are things that are HR that are not qualification and experience based that have to do with district policies, union policies, hiring, background check. Like, there are things that are outside of somebody's expertise that have to get taken into account. There were people that we did move forward to be further vetted because they did meet those qualifications, they had those skills, they could, perform this job with or without some extra support. So it's not that they're not there. What I'm hearing from the district is that we had people, but there were other factors that did not allow the district to extend, or they extended and a person declined. Like, that's what I am hearing. Not that we didn't have qualified people, that it was not the qualifications that were the problem.
Jen?
And that's, oh, sorry, you say Jen.
I was just going to mention quick, Lydia, you addressed the first part of Don's question or statement, and then the second point he made was about the salary too. Maybe looking at the salary, so not necessarily negotiating the responsibilities down, but maybe bringing the salary up to match the responsibilities a bit more. So I just wanted to add that.
And Lydia gave a really good description for the fact that, we had a full-blown process that was thorough in nature, that we had a committee that was very representative of what was being asked. There were qualified people who met the qualifications, hence why we had to interview. So we interviewed individuals who had already cleared the hurdles of everything you just described in terms of meeting the minimum qualifications and having a background experience. That was all cleared, check. And then we interviewed. The committee selected individuals for further vetting. We went through our process of further vetting, and unfortunately, we were not able to, move forward with the candidate. And those things what happened in between, at that point, those are things that we can't get into in terms of, we have to be careful with, legally with things that can be shared and not shared, and at that point in time.
I'm not asking for any names. I'm not asking for anything other than, like, I've been on hiring committees before. And so what I'm hearing is you said whatever they put forward, their ranked choices, right? And that moved on to HR for further vetting. You mentioned a candidate. I heard multiple candidates in other areas. Like, in my experience, so if your top choice declines, can't start at an optimal time, then you move down that list of your qualified candidates that you interviewed, and I guess I want to be sure is that happening, or are you just throwing them all out?
The candidates that moved forward for further vetting, we vetted, and at the end of the day, no candidate was moved forward for the position, so hence it was failed. And you're right, you participated in the coordinator.
I'm not talking
position
even about in this district, because there was only one.
Right.
There was only one at that point in those interviews I attended.
I guess what I'm describing is you were part of a interview process for a coordinator, and I think you engaged in what we do, and I believe we have what you experienced then is what we put forward before forward. We have a very structured process for interviews and asking questions. And at the end of the day, there was also at the end of your process individuals who moved forward, and then we went through the process of what we need to do in terms of due diligence with that candidate, reference checks, all of the above, and we were able to move forward with a candidate who then came on board. In this case, we did the same thing. We were not able to move forward with a candidate for hire. Hence, we are back now saying we're ready to have discussions on next steps for a new process. And so I guess what we're trying to do is try to move forward now, saying we're ready to move forward with a new process. One of the things we want to talk about today is, I think someone mentioned about the job description, is to, and Lita talked about it, the first thing we were ready to do is say, okay, we know we have a job description. Is there something that we want to, is this job description still valid, even though we just created it in July? If there's any tweaking that we needed to do or anything we want to do differently, this would have been an opportunity for some feedback on the current job description that's on a year old, to still say, do we want to do anything differently? Because we can then move forward with either updating the job description, vetted it, and so forth. So we're ready to move forward, starting with AIPAC, saying we have a job description, we are ready to move forward with the process, but we want to get AIPAC's input. But again, I want to make sure I'm respectful to addressing any questions you still have regarding the
My question is still as it stands, did we throw away all of our other candidates? You offered the job to somebody is what I just heard you say, right? And they failed their vetting process, right? You decided you cannot move forward with that one. Where are the rest of them? Are you thinking they're going to reapply? These other qualified candidates you already said were qualified and interviewed? Like, is that, you're not going to offer it to somebody you already interviewed? Like,
whenever you're ready, I don't want to interrupt you, that's all.
I
want to make sure, I want to be very clear. What I said was, there were individuals that the interview committee moved forward for further vetting, and we were unable to move forward with offering anyone the position, and it was a failed position. I didn't mention anything about one candidate versus the other. I'm saying the candidates, we moved forward with further vetting, and we were unable to move forward with completing the process, hence it was a failed process. That's as far as I can go.
Five people were interviewed, and none of them were able to move beyond your vetting process, and you don't think there's an implicit bias issue here?
I just think it was a failed process, like in any other corporation or business. I mean, there's interviews.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Collins.
I'm just saying I'm not sure where the implicit bias comes in that, so I don't want to get into that. I'm just saying it's a normal process that is followed by most companies when there's a hiring process. Unfortunately, you go through a process, and sometimes candidates reach the final stage, and after reference checks and so forth, other decisions are made, and either someone's offered the job or not offered the job. And sometimes even when you offer people a job, they may come back and say thank you, but no thank you. And then you go on, and then it's a failed process, and you move forward with
the next candidate that you already interviewed, right?
So I think a couple things. One, I do have a problem with the terminology of throwing out candidates. I don't really understand that. I think what we're saying is there were 5 people who were interviewed. It's not a normal thing for a candidate, for an interview panel then to say, now we've approved all 5 of these and go vet all 5 of those. Usually you rank your candidates, and they might decide to move 1, 2, or 3 people on. And that was our process, and the people that were put forward after with the panel, we vetted. So there was no throwing away of candidates.
Okay, so are those people that you vetted 3 of the 5 is what I'm hearing now, or some number of the 5. Are those other people, are you expecting them to reapply, or are you just saying, oh, this is already part of our candidate pool? We have had 3 years worth of applicants. Go ahead, Mr. Ang.
Go ahead, Mr. Wright. I wanted to respond to that.
Well, I think that, I wasn't there. This is my first time too. But by listening to this conversation, I think that let's come to point that right now, we ought to hear, right? We have nobody's hired. Even those other please, I think that we need to respect the decision that the committee or the interviewer team that had talked to all those applicants, and none of them been hired. Right now, we just say, okay, nobody's in there. Let's move on. I don't like the idea that you could change that the questionnaires too. You're not gonna move the line. I think when a group of people came together and had established a questionnaire, gonna ask that candidate, and that group of people, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, they agreed to that already. And I think that if you go back and we look at it, that interviewers, I think we're not gonna make a lot of change. We're not gonna move that, say, okay, move that line, like you draw the line, move that finish line to a different position. But for now, let's go coming back in as a group. What we gonna do? What are we gonna do next?
Is promoting?
Let's find a way that come to a conclusion. What next? Are we repost? And then again, you're gonna, and we're not gonna rush. For me, we're not gonna rush. And then 30 days down the road, that guy came in, right, or that individual come into that position. And then next thing we know it, and then we're gonna come back here again to talk, and okay, we're gonna find another one. And and then we don't want that to happen. And when we pick a candidate, make sure that he willing to love this community, love this kid, willing to sacrifice, to empty his pocket, to get a training, to serve this community. Otherwise, they will just come in, okay, I get $100,000 salary. He come and sit for 3 days or maybe 30 days down the road, I can't do the job, I quit. And we're gonna come back here again. That gonna be like that. And so I think that the process of sorting, finding somebody to come in to sit in there, we need to be careful too. These individuals actually love our kids and communities, love this job, or the money. If you love money and you come in to work for the community, serving people, you're doing the wrong job. And I believe that those candidates that were not hired, if they have the passion enough, willing to do what I just mentioned for my opinion, they're gonna reapply it. For me, I will too. Let's say if I wasn't a candidate, my passion is for this community, for this kid. I want to make a difference. He's gonna come back and apply it, or she's gonna come back and apply it. I cannot prove this time, but I will prove it again to you that I'm the right job, a right person for this job.
Thank you, Mr. Bang.
Yeah.
JP, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Bang. Ms. Greensky, I just am wondering, I don't know, I guess you can't answer it, but I would love for the committee to investigate or study on what's, it's March. The last director let me know that she was leaving in, I think, early June, left at the end of June. School starts in September. I'm laying these out, I know this is obvious, but I just don't know how obvious it is. And there's a budget set aside for this position. I don't think Ms. Garber Carrera is drawing that salary. Maybe you are. I don't know, but I don't think you are.
She's not.
Okay. So going back to a little bit to what Mrs. Garbo and what Mr. Melton said, like, there's needs in the community. There's stuff that needs to happen. There's people doing the work. Ms. Garber Carrera. There's 4 of us in this room. Mr. Bang, Mrs. Dela Cruz. Like we're doing the work. what is happening with that budget that was laid out for this position, and what? Sorry, Amber. I mean, you're the doctor, but I mean, like, what accountability do the kids and families have for how that money is spent and accounted for?
So this is something that I feel is that money is not being utilized without a dedicated coordinator to keep their eyes on that budget and to make sure that programming is being planned, so those funds can be used.
Just a clarification. Yes.
Yes.
But I meant the budget for the salary and the benefits and so on for that position.
But what's happening with it?
Yes.
That's the cool. Our plan has been put in. March 1st was the deadline for budget amendments
I can
to
speak
that
to
plan.
So when you're finished.
Yep, and I know the state is swamped, and there's time until you're in 2 weeks before June 30th, and you're spending $40,000 on sewing machines that still aren't being used for programming. That's not okay, especially when we know at this point in the year we have had open positions that we just aren't filling. And I brought it up at last summer, right? Is why are we not promoting from within? We're struggling when we're bringing in people from outside the community, thinking they can walk in and do this job. Why are we not promoting from within? Because our liaisons know our programs. Our liaisons know our kids. Our liaisons can give us that history of where this program has been and where the because several of them have been in these rooms, in these meetings all year without a coordinator to tell them to do it. And they are our boots on the ground, direct student supports. Are we also putting the program plan on them? And that's not fair. If you're also saying these are not qualified people to step into this role of coordinator, why are we asking them to do these planning activities on top of their direct student support services? It doesn't seem right to me. Go ahead, Mr. Bonds.
In no particular order, Marisa is serving as the interim coordinator and is overseeing the budget and the resources and supporting the grants as well as the staff in the department, along with support with Jen Murray, that she's receiving support in a lot of spaces. So just want to say that back to the job, we are ready as a district to have discussions on next steps for a potential posting, which again starts with, if we go to the SOP, it starts with reviewing with AIPAC the job description. We've already stated that we have a job description. We can either figure out, as Mr. Vang is sharing, like how do we move forward? We have a job description. We can talk about whether it's a good one, solid enough right now, and if it still meets the needs. We as a district are ready to, after some discussion and so forth, to then post that position, develop a really solid process to recruit individuals, along with all of you, again, reaching out to all of you and our colleges, and even there was an offer from tribal leaders to also play a role in helping to recruit and so forth, to take advantage of those opportunities and really get a really big candidate pool, as big as we can, of qualified applicants so we can interview and hopefully have a successful hire at the end. So we're ready to do that before the year gets away from us, and so that we can so we can have someone in place. So we're ready to do that when I guess I'll turn back up to you, Marisa, in terms of what you want to share in terms of next steps. But again, I don't want to misstep in terms of
we have
the
a federal
floor
grant deadline this Friday. Is anybody on that?
Are you talking about Title VI?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been filed.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
step part one's
And-
been filed. What's our student count?
And off the top of my head, I know 70 something.
Yep.
And that update was given in the Title
Okay.
VI meeting.
Yeah.
And I just wanna, cause we had this conversation about the budget, so I'm a little confused, because we are looking at the budget and the numbers. Also, to Jen's point around the state, we cannot even put in our system, our plan that we submitted has not had the stamp of approval from the state. We cannot even put those numbers in our financial system in the district until that happens. So we're operating off of two budgets right now. And we have talked about in different meetings around the salary. And so that has been discussed, and we can revisit that. That money has not been spent. And we've talked about the Christmas in July thing, which we'll come back to, but I just want to reiterate that there's no secret plan, that money got spent somewhere, and that we are looking at the numbers, and we have had those conversations. So, and I think the state is putting us not in a great situation either, where we have to now work off two different budgets. I'm trying to hold two different things at one time. We're working off this year's budget when we don't even have that money in our account yet. So that's a tricky place to be, and that is out of our control. So there's a little bit of that going on. So unfortunately, we're not where we're going to be, where we want to be, in a lot of aspects. I think for me, at this point, as it's been mentioned, we're in March. So I don't see a rush to let's get someone right now, because we've already come this far. Let's make sure our process is better and do something different to produce a different result, instead of just rushing to get someone higher. So that is what I'm interested in doing, is talking about the job description, Jen and I making a process that's based off of the data which you all have been requesting us to do, and bringing a proposal to you all. Jen, anything to add to that, or the state part?
Yeah, I mean, in the room right now, I'm just feeling like a lot of anxious or some sort of energy that's just really not healthy. So let's bring it back to what benefits our students. And there's multiple things on the floor right now that, by the chair, that's up for discussion, which is overwhelming to most people in any realm of problem solving. So I hear you need a coordinator. I hear you have this money. I hear the onboarding. I hear all of that. But the situation comes down to is problem solving some of these issues right now. I understand budgets very well. And I can guarantee you right now, out of the 190 schools in the state of Minnesota that applied for the American Indian State Grant, which was about 174, only 4 schools roughly have received a confirmation that they were awarded the money. So when I called down to the state and talked with Eli Dotz, the tribal liaison, and Annie Huberty, who is now the director of Indian Ed, they're saying no news is good news to move forward. As a superintendent of a school, I would be, man, that would be hard to do. But that's what they've done, and that's where they're at. I'm not making excuses, Don. I'm just saying where we're at. So then, throughout working with Duluth admin, or leadership team, however you want to say it, I looked at that grant. And everybody should be looking at the American Indian State Aid. Every single staff person that is on there that is supposed to be helping our students, along with all of the AIPAC, should be looking at that, and you should have a list of what's in process right now, right?
But how do we know without the coordinator to tell us?
Because you don't need, you need a coordinator, or you need a couple of coordinators.
Yes.
Okay? Full, part-time, whatever. State statute doesn't say one full-time coordinator. It says one full-time and or part-time.
I think I've advocated for a director and 2 coordinators in elementary and a secondary.
So we can go there, but you can ask these questions and they can still get answered. What is in progress right now? MIEA, the graduation banquet. I believe the AIPAC said they were having a subcommittee for the powwow. Along with that is the curricular audit for some of those main issues. So what's on the schedule? We still need to schedule 2 college visits, a spring feast. Got some feelers out for storytelling for some local authors potentially. I'm not expecting that the frontline staff, boots on the ground staff, would be coordinating that. They should be sending requests, you know, if they have an idea, because you want input, right, as somebody that does these things. So send them to who's in charge or that can approve of and look at that, and how does it follow the plan, so we all know, not just the parents or the staff and the students and the leadership team at Duluth, then we all know that there's this process. You make a suggestion, you look into it, how does it fit in the plan, does it fit in the plan, does it fall in the budget? So those are some things. We got 2 seasonal activities coming up, potentially. You know, of course, Sugar Bush is coming pretty quick. Some presenters, we have summer school, and then some purchasing of items. You know, so it seems like a whole lot of crazy, but when we bring it back into the line items and tick and look at what those areas of 1 through 5 are, we can get them done, because that will benefit the students. And in this room right now, I'm feeling like there's a lot of this going on because of the mistrust. You know, I'll just, you know me, right? Just throw it on the line there and put it out there. And that does not benefit the students right now. It just does not benefit the students right now. We can address some of the issues with the, I think, sorry, Dawn, if I misquote you, I'm sure you'll let me know. The responsibilities for a coordinator on that job description need to, number 1, be looked at, and whatever the pay is. The reason why Duluth, in my opinion, has had difficulties moving forward our lowest achieving American Indian Ed students is because of the silo treatment the district has. And until we address the issues and look at the data of who is where and why they're there and actually who they're supposed to be servicing, we, because I'm Duluth too, we will not move our kids ahead. We will move ahead the kids that have always moved ahead. We are not going to be picking up the lowest performing students and moving them anywhere but what they've already been through 4 generations in a row. So we can sit, I understand concerns, I really do. But until we do what I call a root analysis data dive, you will be in this situation. Some of you that are employees here for the district, you could sometimes probably be mad at me, but who is paying your salary? What budget does that come out of? Those are the students you should be serving. How many staff do we need to service our American Indian students? I don't know, because I haven't did the data dive to see who really needs what, when, how, and where. And when you bring in a coordinator, and I know hiring within, I understand that too, because we have Taro at the Fond du Lac Reservation. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it sticks with what you've always known and what's always been done. And that's hard for our kids too. So there needs to be some balance with when we discuss things. And I'm just Jen, helping, consulting, making recommendations. The district can take it or leave it, or AIPAC can take it and leave it. But if you're expecting something different and you're expecting someone to be able to come into this coordinator position and fix everything and fix it in 60 days and make everybody feel good, it's not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. What you're asking for is the exceptional, extraordinary principal, right? Because there's 800 students, to be able to come in and do it all up.
Hi.
And that's hard, Amber.
No, I absolutely agree. I think we put in a significant amount of effort as an AIPAC and our coordinator that was hired in January of 2024. And to lose that coordinator, trust relationship significantly, and I'm concerned that you all think that this is a hurry up process. Like our last coordinator, Sheila, she gave notice back in May of last year, almost a year ago. It took us till end of September to hire one, and he gave notice in November, and it's March. Nobody's moving quickly, you know what I mean? But this feels neglectful to me, to leave this position open because, like you're saying, you haven't looked at that data, and that's kind of what the coordinator does, right? They look at that data. They are using that data in these plans, and right now, whoever gets put in this that person has to be reactive unless they're already in the department. So it sounds to me, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but it sounds to me like you have no intention to hire a coordinator this year, and if that be the case, then tell us. JP, you had your hand up.
I just want to offer a correction. And I can't speak on behalf of Mr. Christian, but I will say that I agree in systemic change. I talk about it all the time. I work for it, and I feel like I've dedicated my life to it. This is aside from the coordinator discussion, but I just want to correct. If anyone got the impression that our graduation rates continue to decline, that could be true, but mine are going up. And again, I hate to put words in Coach Christian's mouth, but he's my feeder, and we work as partners in many ways. So I'm not going to just take credit for them going up. That's about Coach Christian. It's about Mrs. Dela Cruz. It's about Miss Horton. It's about Mr. Tuscan. It's about Check and Connect. It's a team. Okay, but I just want to, and I don't think you meant this, but I just want it noted, or just want. I think you know the broader picture, but just for AIPAC and any, I know there's media on here, I just want it known that the rates are at least, and again, I'm not saying me, I'm just saying me and Denfeld, they're going up. They continue to go up, and I don't know if it's across the board or not, but it's a lot of kids. And it's honestly, I'll offer to Mr. Bonds and Mrs. Wellens and everybody else that worked on the slogan. I walk in here every day thinking about that slogan. Every child, every day, everyone matters, and they all do, and everyone that graduates, I literally, you've seen me, I'm crying, the board members, you see me down there, and just, whatever, it just like, every single one of them matters. So, I just, you're right, Jen, there's an energy here, and I'm a little resentful about that, because, I'm working hard, they're going up, and I also 100% believe in systemic change, and I mean, you can look at me, again, I don't want to put everything, I'm not going to stop talking about Mr. Christian, but just look at us, look at all of us, we're systems people too, we're moms and dads, we're, whatever, I probably already said too much, that's why I don't come to these, because I don't know if I even add to these meetings, and if I just make stuff worse sometimes, but I care, and the rates are going up, they need to go up higher, it's ridiculous, they're going up to like 52% or something like that, like it definitely should be at 80-90%, but they are going up, and I don't.
Yeah, your voice.
I don't know what else to say about it, but I don't think that was meant as personal, but I took it a little bit personally.
Thank you, JP. I think the bottom line for me as leader of this department and team right now is I want the same thing that you all want. I want things to get better. Like I said, I've been here for less than 5 months, and it hasn't been an easy journey for me either. And I feel like I haven't been given, and I think I recognize that I represent and we represent an institution that has to do better. And I think I've been doing a lot of learning and things behind the scenes that I don't think is always visible. And I can do a better job of making that work visible. But I do think we do have the capacity and the people to look at where we are now and create a better path forward. And I would like to do that. I transparently thought about not coming tonight because I have a very sick kiddo and I'm here. and so I do take this very seriously. And I also want to protect my team, who I know is doing good things, and also recognize that we're not where we want to be. And two things can be true. And I need time to move forward. And we're not going to turn a program around in 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. But we can start laying some groundwork to do that. I think I've already been doing that slowly. And I want to continue to do that. And so I'm asking for you all to partner with me on that, and also asking, what do you need from me at this point? We know each other a little bit better, and like, what do you need from us at this point? Because I am feeling zapped. Like,
can I just also name the fact that as Native people, we are known for laterally attacking our own, and I want to just make sure that everybody knows that these two people walk the walk. They don't just sit in this space. They sit in really important spaces, as does JP. And that was one of the reasons we wanted to bring the data to the school board and ask them for the data, was because we do want to celebrate where celebration needs to happen. But also, I would like to know, as you were asking, what is the next step process, because they need the support. That they need to be able to get the stuff to our kids, and they need it. That's a lot to be putting on a mom. That's a lot to be putting on administrators who already have a lot of shit happening. But I don't think that what we're doing right now is healthy, because we're how long in now? You guys, we're quite a long time in, and we're kind of just spinning around the same topic, right?
It's quarter to and
Yeah.
we're on the first
Right,
one.
and we're still on the first bullet point or whatever of the agenda. So do we know what is the next step in this process, just so everybody can leave here knowing what is the next step in the process, so that if you do know people in the community that want to reapply or whatever, that they know what they have to do to be able to be, whatever they have to do, up their resume or whatever they have to do, or be a person that's boots on the ground that wants to try and step into the role or whatever.
Just needs to be a vote, that's all.
Ray,
Vote
so
somebody in.
Sorry.
Make it simple, vote somebody in.
I feel like I'm like echoing what you just said.
We nominate.
John has his hand up. Is that it's quarter to 6, and I feel like this happens at every single AIPAC meeting for the last for a long time now, over the school year. And I don't know if, as a committee, when we're making the agenda, like there needs to be time frames, because we have a lot of things that are time sensitive that we have to talk about. We have to talk about MIA. It is literally this month. Graduation banquet. That takes time to plan, and it is March. And if we need to build into the agenda or however that gets done, that topics like, yes, we want robust discussion, we want opportunities for parents and community members to ask the questions that they want to ask and get the answers for the things. Like, part of that is AIPAC, right? Is that opportunity for the community and the parents to have a voice. And we spin. For a year and a half, every meeting we spin on like 2 things and nothing actually gets accomplished. And so I don't know if we can just get next steps from the district and then move on to the next thing.
Sounds like there's no next steps.
For us right now, for Jen and I to sit down for a full day, look at the data, and then make a recommendation on this is how we move forward with the process, including job description, timeline. I put together a timeline for you today, and I don't think that that's appropriate to say this is the timeline without doing the proper due diligence of taking a full day, other things, and for you all to also think about, review the job description on your own, and then us to come back together and say, this is what we're thinking. Do you agree?
Go ahead, John, final comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I felt really bad that everybody, the liaisons and Marissa were feeling some sort of way of some of the swings that are being taken at the district. We love all the people that are really dedicated to working with our children and helping them succeed. But yeah, we really got to move on and get to the next thing here, so I'll shut up.
Thank you. I think a big issue we've had for the last year and a half is the lack of a dedicated coordinator. So let's move on to MIA.
Eddie, can you put that list? This is the current list of folks we identified who is going. Would love to ask if there are folks here who represent parent families that would like to go.
If there's room, I would not go, but if there's not, I would not want to go. I went last year, for the first time in my life, and I've been teaching for what, 20, what years is 20, 26 years? I was like, holy cow, I've never been.
We'll put you as, okay, we'll put you as a tentative. Anyone else?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the plan, didn't we say we were prioritizing students? I see one student name on that list.
Yes, and there has been, the liaisons also have brought up an issue to me around chaperoning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that has been a tough thing, and I think, yes, we can do a better job in the future about being more proactive and letting families know this is an option and that they need to come with their students.
And JP had mentioned last year that he would have liked to have known that I was going because he had students that he wanted to, the language students, they were doing the language goal, but he's male, and he said it would have been nice to have known that I was going because then I could have supported in chaperone role. I don't know the Denver students because I'm in contact with the little kids, but that was something that he brought up last year. And I don't know if they're from chaperone.
Well, the main takeaway that I took away from my staff is that they're not interested in chaperoning overnight, and also that they've been put in positions in the past where even more people come and they still have to chaperone. So that's been a barrier, and I think we need to do a better job of planning for that for next year to let folks know.
I think looking at, right, we don't have a lot of time for this year, but I think, and I consistently say this, is that when I think we all understand that bringing minors places comes with a lot of extra things versus an adult. And so if we're wanting to bring students, we should be, whenever they release the MIE dates, as soon as we know what those dates are, the liaisons reaching out to those students and those families and being like, hey, would you be interested? These are the dates, because families might have to take time off of work. Families might have to find babysitters for other kids. That as soon as we have those dates, next year,
It'll be the same time roughly. You'll notice that they've been trying to be consistent.
because then that gives our families times, and I think that we could get more students. Because I know if I had to take 3 days off of work and have younger kids, I couldn't just at the drop of a hat do it. So trying to get students to go with short notice, because we keep trying to bring this up at every single meeting, we never talk about it. So I think an intentional, this would be on the coordinator, or at right now, Marie says that at the beginning of the school year, there's a lot of intention with our department and coordinators to recruit and get some of those students going, so that we have, by March, we can say, yes, we have chaperones. And I don't think it's fair to have staff chaperoning if we're sending them as training. If they're there to train and learn things, then they can't get that learning and content if they're chaperoning students. So I feel like if we are sending staff and they're willing to chaperone, they should be given that option. And speaking of MIA, Cadell Cole won Student Female Athlete of the Year for MIA. So come on, clap.
I'm supposed to smile.
And will be recognized at the ceremony. Okay, so is there anyone in here that wants to attend?
So my name is on there under staff for some reason.
Oh, sorry.
Nobody has reached out to me. I have gone twice, and I would like parents who haven't gotten the opportunity to go to get to go. to at least get it offered to them before I take it again. That's my stance.
I don't know if it would be acceptable, but I have never been. But I also do not drive, and with some of my health issues, my hubby is my support system. I was curious if maybe him and I could go as well. But if not, that is totally cool too. I'm good. But if it was available.
So I think it would be inappropriate for us to pay for your husband because he's in a completely different department. And I think if there are if we are not able to fill spots with folks who are directly servicing staff members who are directly servicing American Indian students or families and parents, then I would be happy to open them to Gray, but I would like to prioritize attendance for students, families, and staff that are interacting daily with American Indian students. So I could also offer this to some of our integration specialists. I could offer it to other staff members who work with our American Indian students. Amanda and Tori are on there because they are two of those folks with their
So in the guidance in the plan, it talks about MIA specifically, and that these funds should be used to support students and families at least at the same rate, if not more than staff. Is that accurate in that guidance document?
That's accurate, and that was when I came on board when the last coordinator was in the position. And I remember asking the AIPAC to get the feelers out for you all, because we're all, Native people are connected in this area, to ask students that work in, especially the high school, and if their parents wanted to go.
We also have the ability to send it to those students' families through Parent Square.
Yeah, well, that would be on the district side. I'm just saying what I'm feeling is there's responsibilities on both parties to enhance and move forward when that's in the plan. And, I don't know how long it's been, but I know since I started back at the Ojibwe school, as a staff person, I used to take 5 to 10 kids on overnights to things. And so that's another thing that we'll look at is, kind of like what's going on. And then why aren't our parents going with their kids to these events? Well, I'll look into that, but I already know some background on it. When you're, Don Melton, this is your quote, when you're broke, you don't know how to do those things. And so we're lacking on some of the equitable and accessibility to things. And so that's something that we need to look hard at. And then if the kids don't want to go, we need to know that. High school kids might not want to, but we need to know those things.
I thought it was just because their parents didn't want to hang out with them for 5 days.
Go ahead, Don.
Okay. Personally, I don't want to go on a field trip, but if it's going to be set up, I think, yeah, if you wanted to bring a bunch of parents and stuff with their kids, you'd probably have to get a bus and whatnot.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I think these things need to be thought through more mindfully, and find out the reasons why they haven't happened or people have not felt comfortable going. I think that's really important.
So I can give feedback that's been shared with me. Parents who have gone a couple of years ago, we submitted reimbursements for travel, and they never got repaid. So they never got repaid. So they got burned, and it became a very expensive trip for them, and that they don't want to risk that again. So we built a barrier to their being able to do this. I've spoken with other people who I think would be good candidates to go. Like I said, I've gone twice, but who do they tell?
Yeah. So it's barriers of cost at this point in time.
Barriers of cost and barriers of who do they inform?
Who's the contact person to of information? Yeah.
See, not for me, that wasn't my issue. My issue was my daughter doesn't, and excuse me, she's in the room. I don't, and she probably gets sick of me saying this kind of stuff, but my children hide their identity. I don't think East does a really great job of keeping the kids networked with other Native kids, and to the point where I think a lot of the Native kids hide to a point where they almost ostracize each other in different ways, and then it turns into, like, this one's a bad kid, or that one's a bad kid, like that kind of thing. And so I don't think that we kept relationships really close to other Native kids. Like, I don't struggle financially. Would I have minded carpooling with other moms? Well, no, because I'm social. I could give a shit less if I had other kids from mom in my car to go, like, travel. I don't care. I don't even know if I ever got the reimbursement form back because I don't pay attention to stuff like that. Like, like it would have bothered me zero, but that's kind of,
So we're in a time jam right now, right? Because I know, I don't know this for a fact, so I have to ask. I believe Duluth reserved 15 rooms, so there's rooms. Registration is still doable, and then the other caveat to that is, well, the students aren't going. So I'm hearing all of this. So if the students aren't going to MIEA, so we could put on the list as what I call the Christmas in July, since the kids did go. And why don't we bring them to Prairie Island to the Buffalo Farm then? And we'll rent the bus. I can contact Johnny down there and he'll hook us up. We can cruise down during the day. I don't know if parents would want to come and spend the night with their own kid. My kid gets sick of me. But, that's something we can move. So we're not stuck right now. Because the kids would have gone anyway, except for this last year, because Odia left the MIA. Last year they went to Prairie Island to the Buffalo Farm. So we can still offer an opportunity like that. It just won't be the big conference then.
I think some years they have youth tracks where it's like they have stuff specifically for youth, and then
And Johnny they'll get the same treatment that they'll get the same kind of like a program. It just won't be the adults at MIA. It'll be.
Well, I'm saying like MIA, I think there's been some years, and I mean we're not in charge of MIA, but like there's been years where there has been something for students. They're like, yeah, that looks really cool. I'd like to do that. And then there's been other years where there hasn't been like youth specific, and so then kids are like going to this session for an adult, like it's not enticing to them. Or so I feel like some years there might be more of like a buy-in from kids if they even know it's happening.
But right now, to solve and make sure people are getting an experience, kids especially, right? We could right now put on a priority list for Christmas, what I call Christmas in July, to planning a trip down to Prairie Island for the Buffalo Farm. If but AIPAC chair, you got to talk to your crew, and if that's something you want to do, you need to let me know.
I think that has to come down to a that's a budget discussion at some point. So are we done with the MIA conversation?
Is there any other thoughts or people who want to go? We can reallocate that money, as Jen's saying. We're gonna have to reallocate some of it because we're not gonna get to the total. But I also can invite other staff members.
Jamie,
again, that's something I would talk to someone at the state.
His name's Jeremy Brooks. He works for Check and Connect here at Dental.
So I know you have, JP has, there's been people who are, some of our staff who are on the list who have recommended more staff members. So I'm asking if you all are okay with that.
I guess like Dustin and JP's gone, are there any students that are willing or wanting to go but may have a barrier that maybe could be assisted with that barrier?
JP told me today that there are students that want to go, just with everything being
Is it
so
just
late
a
right now.
chaperoning thing?
He doesn't know.
For me, it is, yeah.
If there's any of these students that I know, I'll send them your name.
That would be awesome.
Because if there's students and there's a barrier, if the department can
I
somehow
understand.
figure that out, it'd be great. I'd be supportive of like some of the integration specialists, since especially in like the elementary schools, they're the staff who are working with our students.
Yeah, I also recommend somebody too. So I have a lot of Afro-Indigenous people in my school, and they work kind of with me and one of the AIPACs, so they kind of work together on some caseloads. So,
And there's 12 aspects, and if we throw it out to all of them, I would be surprised if more than 2 could actually make it work because of late notice. So,
I'm just saying for the
yeah,
school I work.
I'm just saying if we wanted
Just
to,
send your names to Marisa.
if we wanted to extend the invitation to all integration specialists, I don't think all 12 are going to come. So,
I would highly recommend talking to the ladies at the state because the guidance is pretty clear on we need to be outreaching to our parents and our students at the same rate you're talking about to staff members, right? We're doing a poor job in outreach and getting them to a coordinator so they can get to this conference, right? Someone they trust and can talk to. That's the barrier, and we're just saying, oh, well, we don't have a coordinator, so let's just bring more staff. And I'm for bringing staff, but...
and I do want to say, though, that we have talked as liaisons, and they have had conversations with students, so it's not like we haven't tried it all. Can we do more? Absolutely. Like, can
I
this
think
get
we
better?
talked about
Absolutely.
making a flyer and sending it out through Parentsburg. I don't know whose thing that was supposed to be, but that was a conversation. So at this point, I think like if there's any other students, we'll make sure that you have their names by the end of the week so that we can.
Thank you.
Is there a possibility for us to send it out to parents over Parent Square? And is there potential that we would get too many?
Well, now I think the concern is that because we only have a limited number of rooms, so I think that would be the concern at this point. It would be some.
First come, first served,
Right.
wouldn't it?
That'd be a good problem to have, right? Because at least you would get it filled. I mean, the answer is yes, we have Parent Square. Information can be sent directly to
I think that'd be the
families.
most equitable way to do what you're saying is to kick it out in Parent Square, so at least we could say we made an attempt to reach all the parents.
Yes.
We've been doing a poor job of that because Parent Square is pretty awesome right now.
Just don't put my name on
Marisa
it.
is-
That's right. Contact women. As long as it's there, we're good.
By tomorrow to Parent Square, saying if you're interested.
Because these state aid dollars are supposed to go to our students
And
first
should
and
like for the
foremost.
contact be you for parents, if they could express like a barrier, you would be the person that they could get a hold of.
Yep.
Can you just make sure?
Well, we can talk about
what
that.
you want?
Yeah, we can talk about that, but I think we can get that out tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't recall that.
All right, we're going to close out the MIA discussion. If you're wanting to go, please get Marisa your information and the information of your students. In the grant, we said we could support 20. You already had how many spaces taken up? How many spaces are we?
Shut down. Can you do it?
Just so we have a
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11.
so we have space for 9 more.
Are you talking about students? Sorry.
I'm rooms. She's talking about the number of rooms you have.
Oh, I
You
thought
don't
you
want
said
to
people. Sorry.
Yeah. What is our capacity? You already have.
We have 15 rooms. Are you all staying in one room?
Yeah.
Okay, so the polls are all staying
And
in
are
one
you
room.
saying one
Okay.
room, Jamie? So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rooms.
Okay. So we have
7 left.
7 left.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we have potentially one parent, one student, 14. 7 spots. 7 spots. 7 spots. Okay.
Maybe you get real lucky and one parent has like 4 kids.
Right. Exactly. Under the age of 3.
Well, you know all that.
No,
outreach
I
stuff.
But I don't think it'll be that hard to find 7 students, who want to go.
Okay. Can we go to back to the agenda?
I think the next thing is that ELE text review.
Yep, and sorry, my computer just shut down. supplemental texts in ELA spring curriculum. When we included folks representing American Indian culture earlier this year, we worked with the coordinator to approve our selections. From what I found online, these texts appear to be your cultural responsive, but I don't want to make that call. And I said this is a great thing for you all to weigh in on if you have any recommendations. So I put the 2 texts in the agenda that she is recommending. And
Sky Sisters is good.
can you click on the link?
And this is a really good way to utilize AIPAC.
That's a good book.
Instead of a coordinator even making the decision, it should come to the group here, so it's vetted amongst a variety of perspectives.
So we have Sky Sisters and Eddie. The other one is Why We Dance.
I'm familiar with Sky Sisters. I think it's a good book. I don't know if other people read it.
Yeah, it is a good book. What I haven't had a chance to do is watch the YouTube video. That I think that's where the lesson's coming from. Is that accurate, or
Is it just the book that they're using, or
no? And then they had linked a YouTube video.
She didn't give me context on the link. She just said the texts are and provided those links. So she just wanted to know your thoughts, and then if there's any other, if you have any thoughts on the books or another resource that you want us to consider.
Oh, it looks like this is them reading it. Like it's this person's reading the book.
Yeah.
Okay. So this isn't like a lesson video. This is just
Yeah, I think this is just if you want to review the actual
Let's
book.
go and shout and I race to the door.
Okay.
Oh, like I do. I wonder if Auntie ever says it's.
Okay, so I'm hearing that Sky Sisters is something that someone's familiar with. Is there any other thoughts or notes?
Can you click?
You can also always email me.
The other one, the Why We Dance. Yeah.
And so with the AIPAC, Amber, what I would
Like a
highly
description.
suggest is when these types of requests for your input, I would definitely have motions on the floor for it, so that you have documentation that we all approve a book or lesson plans or anything like that.
I will say we'll call for that motion at the next meeting after people have
Yep.
have had time to review both links for both books.
Good.
And I will reach out and see when they want this by. Because she didn't give me a timeline.
You can do it via email too, on your committee for things like this. You just have to have the documentation. Otherwise, people will be saying, "Yeah, I talked to AIPAC."
Right, exactly. It should definitely be in some kind of official minutes or, at one point we did have a curriculum review subcommittee who would meet and do some things like this.
Okay. So we can send this out with the links?
No, they'll make a formal motion at the next meeting.
We'll make the links are already linked to the agenda. Like,
Okay.
so anyone who goes
So I'll
on
just
our.
double check on their timeline.
The agenda's on the calendar invite.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
have access.
Okay. I'm gonna have to scoot out of here soon, so I want to give a few quick updates. So let's go to sewing machine. Oh, I'm sorry. Graduation banquet. Is that okay if we move on?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Graduation banquet. So I would like for us to establish a subcommittee for that to work with Gray and I on planning. We have the date, we have the location, but I would love to.
I'll be on the
Oh,
subcommittee.
you and Ben subcommittee. Great.
What's the date?
May 28th at Clyde
Ironworks.
Ironworks. I always mess that last part up.
Do you have a time?
5 to 7, like it has been the last 2 years.
So 5 to 7. Hopefully the subcommittee can come up with a speaker. They're filling up fast.
Yep, that would be the biggest
Like
priority.
soup, super fast. And then if you are going to order blankets through Heartberry, Sarah would need to know that. The sooner the better.
Okay, so we have one person.
And in terms of like a speaker, is that in there, like fee and stuff like that, we would coordinate that with you about those kinds of logistics. Yes.
I'll help you, it's fine. I don't know, I have high school, it's fine.
And then we should start like an email thread with like whoever's on the subcommittee and when to start, just so that
I'll make sure that we bring it up at the JOM meeting too, so if anybody wants to join, they can join.
And then do we know how many kids?
93.
93.
is that for sure graduates or some
That's
tentative?
that's on the list. So I'm hoping that we're tracking them to make sure they're staying the course because it's spring craziness for seniors.
It gets, it'll probably fluctuate a little.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It'll be all right.
Jamie will help me
Okay.
get there.
So I have Lydia and Emily down. Okay.
Yeah, if you have the quickest way to not spend a ton of time, but being able to be more focused, is to put it on a Google Doc that people have access to, and then have the program agenda. Who's the keynote speaker? What, you know,
Let's do that.
yeah. And then that way people can add to it. And if someone doesn't like something, you can be like, I don't really like that. What would you prefer?
Okay. So are we good to move to sewing machines?
Yep.
Okay, sewing machines. So the sewing machines, I was not here for any of that, but I've heard about it and they have been sitting there and I would like to get them out. We've talked to liaisons about that, of the space being an issue. And Jen's come up with some good ideas. Jen, you want to talk about this?
Sure, off the top of my head. So what do you do with 30 sewing machines? All in a box.
Is that how many you have?
I believe so.
What do you do with them?
They're still in a box.
So what are the possibilities? So here were some of my ideas. So right now we're coming into, I don't know what schools can actually house it for a class. So that's one of the things I asked the district to like check out for me and then bring it back to you all. The other thought I had was potentially the ALC downtown, hosting that for potential summer school as like a, not necessarily a STEAM or a STEM, but we could mix and match that and have an actual sewing class for very beginners, intermediates, whatever, and then make sure they have the ribbon skirt or shirt by the time they graduate. Not necessarily utilizing all 30 machines at one time, because what I do know with people like me and some of the kids I have helped, we bust things on the sewing machine. So setting aside, a handful, 7, so you always have the backup instead of sending out for repair and not having anything on the fly. So those are some of the ideas. And then you can do the lesson plans, starting out with, how to use a machine, the paper, what's it called?
Pattern.
Consumer science guidelines, standards, whatever those are, and that way you can have a wide range of students all in the same class, because a 7-year-old might sew with me because I sew like I'm 7, and then potentially parents if they want to come in and help.
Is that a volunteer?
Thank you.
So
Tim's
you
over
should
there.
talk to Dustin, because they just started their sewing class today and their project.
Yep.
So they need some other supplies, and they could probably use a couple more machines.
I volunteered my time.
To engrave them?
Yeah, but
You're hired.
heard nothing.
But yeah, so for summer school,
yeah.
it'd be a nice little project.
Okay.
You could
Yeah.
integrate the art.
You tell me when you
Some
have
Probably
we'll make
be a
it
little easier to get the space, yeah.
and the space,
like
right?
we're currently all
On the fly.
Yep.
Well, at Edison, Don and I did a lot with just helping the middle schoolers to
at the DS.
make ribbon skirts, and it was really fast.
Go ahead, Jen.
It was like a couple sessions for them to have.
Let's see.
Largo.
Yeah, and it was really good.
I just had a quick question. When you were inventorying, was there a machine that is like a large machine that could be used for like quilt making, or I seem to recall some large machine that was different than just like a single sewing machine?
I don't know the difference between the sewing machine, but Ray, do you know?
Not a bigger one than what we have.
So do you
I'm
think-
not sure.
We have so many kinds.
What did you have in mind, Jen?
Well, I thought in one of our discussions, I mean, it's been a while now, that there was one big machine. There were a number of sewing machines, just, you know, smaller single units, but that there was one like large machine that could do other types of sewing.
That was just, someone was misreading the, expense, I believe, at the time, making,
Okay.
these are heavy duty machines, they are all the same. So
Okay.
there's no big machine.
So,
Okay.
I think the question that I've had out since last July is about purchase order number 807-25031.
Wait, hold on. 80?
Holy smacks, you didn't even tell me the pen. 80 what?
The purchase order number is 807-25031.
031.
Let's see. So it looks like it's request number 15021 from a vendor, Amazon. Description is sewing machine, AIE, Title 6. Modified time, 06/26/2025, 11:29:19 a.m. Amount $29,375.24 to the attention of Melanie Black. Ship date 6/16/2025. Post date 6/18/2025. So that's the sewing machine. Below that, we have the 30 machines, which have been accounted for, and
It's just all.
Wait,
That's
can I
the
see it?
listing
Yep.
for the-
it's the very top one.
Okay.
What's the question, Amber? Sorry.
The question is, we were like,
So
it's on
So
the
there's-
list.
Machines and then a separate machine.
So you're saying there's a $29,000 machine?
That's, yes, that's what we were
That's our
trying to
question,
figure out.
yeah.
Where is hold on.
They think that, but no, there is not. There's just the 30 sewing machines.
Okay,
And
well,
you
I'm
can
confused
confirm
now
it
too.
with
So can you send this to me?
Absolutely.
Because I have receipts and I don't, that's not.
And if there has been a reasonable answer for this, nobody has shared this with me. Jen, I'll show this. It's the very top line on there. The sewing machines under it are the 30 that are not in question. We know that they exist. It's the top line.
Just send that to me now and I'll send it to you. Okay. Anything else about sewing machines? Okay. Back to the agenda. Okay, just very quickly, these two things, achievement and integration and tribal consultation update. I think I said this last time,
So
but
if it got ordered and returned, that would be good information for us to have. So
I'll try to figure that out. Okay, so achievement and integration, high level, it's a 3-year cycle. We are up this year. It was supposed to be due next week. I thought that was insane. And I asked for an extension. We were granted an extension. So that is very good news to my personal well-being. And so we now have until the end of the school year. So I've been working on that slowly with some working groups. Eventually we'll bring that to you all. And I have more specific questions there. But just wanted to let you know that that's currently what is happening, right? I'm working with a group of ISPECs. I'm working with a group from Myers-Wilkins. And then I'll be working with another group. So that's happening. There's not like a draft out right now or anything. So when that happens, I'll be coming to bring that to you all with more specific questions around that.
You said from Myers and where? The groups you're working with?
Yeah, so if you look at the goals, goal 1 is basically integration specialist. And then the rest of the goals are largely around Myers-Wilkins, and there's some other threads there. So right now I have a working group with ISPECs and a working group with Myers-Wilkins. And then I'll probably be developing another working group. I had kind of piece, instead of having an enormous group that's really hard to schedule with and all of the things. So eventually I'll be bringing that back.
Yeah, and we'll be working on this plan too, because the AIPAC, and we've stated it multiple times, the AIPAC state aid seems top heavy on the high schoolers, while the integration, achievement and integration is top heavy in the elementary. So when we're looking at goals and achievement and reading and math and all of that stuff, you know, we need to be looking at both of these grants and seeing how they all fit in for the bigger picture of what our Indian students are receiving through services in Duluth.
So when you do that, I would like to participate in that because I've worked at the elementaries in those sites, and now I'm at the high school, and I do have a little bit of knowledge of how the middle school works. So I feel like I could contribute to some of that continuity, especially because many of the high school students who are here now are students that I worked with in elementary. So I've had a chance to follow a group all the way through now. That's all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and then tribal consultation. So I attended my first tribal consultation last week on Friday, and it was a good and productive meeting. And I did bring copies. If you didn't take one, please do, of the information that we provided to them. I also sent it to everyone electronically. There was a lot of good information in there, and also data that you have requested in the past. And you know, some of the highlights there, we talked a lot about collaboration, we talked about communication, we talked about increasing visibility. They made an emphasis also on, you know, modernization and creating opportunities for our students to participate in modern activities and not always emphasizing on the past and history. That was an interesting takeaway for me. But I know, obviously, Jen, you were there, and Amber, you were there, so if there's anything you would like to add to that.
Yeah, I think I talked about there my biggest concern being the lack of a coordinator. We don't have anyone to direct our parents with concerns to. And we get good policy and procedure, but we don't have anyone following it, right? We have I'm sure, you know, we have a well-written plan, but without that coordinator to ensure that that these steps are being followed through on, we've got a big hole that our kids are just falling into, and we don't have anyone to go to with those concerns.
There's a lot of opportunity though as far as doing technology integration stuff. Last Friday, University of Minnesota, I don't know, 3 on a 4-year grant. They've been having us get together with like the I don't know what they're called, the computer science people at Dental and East and all over Duluth. A big focus is actually in their Canadian community. They have there's a lot of engineers that are doing this, and it's a lot of like really techy stuff. They've got really cool things that they've done with teaching the kids how to make apps that like mimic jingle dancers and things like that.
Oh
and
yeah, I've seen some of those
Yeah,
coming
there's
up.
a ton of opportunity, and they're on the 3rd or the 4th year grant, and so they're doing a lot with like talking about how do we extend this beyond this. So there's a lot of conversation happening about where to go next with a lot of this stuff. So there is a lot of stuff happening. I think there's a lot that can still be done to grow this bigger. And I think like where I sit at, I think I just check a box like, oh, you're native and oh, you're in special education. So I just check a box. So I tend to just go just because I care about the kids. But there's a lot of opportunity, especially for our native kids, because in my mind, how do you propel people who have been behind so long technology? That's how you do it. You work, faster. You work smarter, harder, faster. Like that's how I do real estate and teaching, because you work faster, smarter. Like that. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of people who have a lot of heart invested in doing this that actually have the know-how, that want to teach our kids. Some of them are at NIEA. Some of them are in the right rooms, in the right spaces.
The Ojibwe school had that grant. They
Yeah, I'm
love
not gonna say it's shut down.
No, it's just a coordinator is the one who would kind of pull all those pieces together for our kids in our community. And like we know there's these really good programs out there, and some of our kids and families are getting them, right? It's just it's that equity piece. The kids who don't know they exist, how do we direct them to it? If it's like, if I can give somebody a ride, if I can bring somebody, you know what I mean, I'll do it. But we need coordination of services. We need someone that our families can go to.
Jen has a question.
Yeah, I was the one that had a lot of questions, and thanks, Jen, for answering them. I didn't put up any follow-up questions because the time was really tight, and being that it was the first consultation with just getting everyone getting to know each other again with the new leadership, and I didn't want to bog down the time, but I'm curious if some of the things to, I don't know, maybe start thinking about is, has Fond du Lac identified areas that they're going to need jobs in, for example, that there are going to be gaps in the future, kind of critical areas that would be really helpful in, identifying those and connecting our, career services people. And again, it's more geared toward middle school and high schoolers, but those kind of connections that we might not think of, maybe that's what they are leaning more toward, not just the traditional Indian education or kind of the old school Indian education, but thinking about modernizing it, so different ways to connect. And I don't know if this could be something we could think about too, but some type of teacher exchange or student exchange, kind of like it wouldn't have to just be cultural, but that's always there, but some type of exchange program of sorts. I think there's a lot of value in we always want to bring our students in and then kind of dip them out, but having them maybe more a part of the community in some way, or have the community there a little bit more ingrained into what we're doing in the schools. Just some thoughts.
Yeah, Jen, just to catch you up real quick too, is we discussed the college and careers, basically the careers on Fond du Lac, and I let Duluth know, along with tribal council at that time, just to contact me, and we can set up, like if they want to do forestry, natural resources, give me the theme that you want, and then if you want presentations within the schools, I think, our new HR director, and he's not new, he's our old secretary treasurer for Ned Martineau, he'd be willing to come and chit chat with the kids too, so we could slot some times for that. And then the student teacher exchange, we talked about the Fond du Lac Ojibwe School band, not the drum group, the band. The drum instructor's wife works as a teacher in Duluth here too, and they're already connecting. So we're trying to do some more like of the modern day too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I love
so
that.
when these ideas come up, if you want to contact me, and then I can schedule a network with the Fond du Lac folk, I can do that.
Yeah, oh, excellent.
That's for
I love
anybody
that.
in the
Thank
room,
you.
not just Jen Garbo.
Yeah, awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. What else is? I think that was the end of the agenda, or
There's the update on annual compliance submission, update on budget amendment submission.
Yeah, we did kind of already touch on those.
Yeah.
But the compliance has been submitted. In the budget, everything is behind, so those amendments will still be able to be submitted.
Yeah.
So still working on that, but.
do we have an assuming all programming in the plan.
So this is what I'm struggling with and what I talked to Simone about yesterday. What I said earlier is that we cannot update in our system until MDE says we have that money. So it puts us in a very uncomfortable situation because we're technically spending money that we know we're gonna get, right? So it's very hard to say. So I'm working off two numbers, this year and last year's. So I think Jen's idea around the Christmas in July is a good one, and I'm still trying to get the numbers accurate for myself to then be able to bring that here.
I could probably, Amber, give like a Jen guesstimate.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm looking
I'm not gonna be able to do
for.
it tonight because I would really be faking it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I have
I'm
what
sure by
I
3
think
o'clock-
it is going to be.
Well, by 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll probably have it.
She's just down.
I'll probably have it down in like with a handful, within 5
Because
grand.
I'm just looking at like
Okay.
salaries and fringe.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
even looking at programming. Is
No,
like
I can probably get us close.
Yeah.
I just do Gen math.
Yeah.
So y'all know.
So like what I'm understanding is, so we submitted a plan, we did all of this. That money, the district has the district has submitted everything that they're supposed to submit, and right now the issue is MDE processing.
Yeah.
The paperwork.
Well, there's a
Or-
couple things with their systems, right? And this is what most people don't know, is when the finance for MDE pushes out their funds, it's the large chunks of grants, the large chunks of money. So the Title I is gonna get pushed out. The American Indian Aid is one of the smaller grants, so that's left on the down here. It'll eventually slide through. And there's nothing at this point in time we can do about it, but TNEC has been trying to push it to make it a priority so schools can't say we can't start the program because we didn't get the funds. That's why all those dates, that's why the dates change for submission to try and push that so at the beginning of the school year.
Does MDE have any sort of estimate of when they will be able to allocate that, or is it just?
I can find out, but they're behind, and it's really frustrating because it's like we want this, right? The school wants to make sure they got this, and then MDE is they're slow. Hope you all hear that. They're slow on American Indian funding.
Just something that I noticed is our next AIPAC meeting is scheduled during spring break. And so I guess I would, in the efforts of having staff here, access to buildings, I would motion that we just move it to the next week, which would be April 8th. It would still be a Wednesday, same time, same place, just move it instead of the first Wednesday to the second Wednesday. I guess that's.
I'd be okay with that.
I hear a second. Everyone in favor, raise your hand.
Right, we just need to double check the calendar to make sure there's nothing on that date and that, because there are designated days when you can't have meetings and stuff, so I'm just gonna 100% check that so we can.
Okay.
Oh, plus it's on April Fool's Day. Like, who planned that one?
We just said the first Wednesday.
Yes, and I
We
think we
didn't know.
mentioned that at that point, but it's like, that's spring AIPAC's problem.
Here we are.
That's spring AIPAC. So we'll do April 8th.
April 8th. I'll look in as a backup just to if the public library happens to be open and using one of their rooms. If for some reason there's a blackout date on that for meetings.
Whose kid is that?
No, not ours. We don't know whose kids those are.
But I think
You know who those kids are?
for continuity, we would prefer to be at Denfeld in this room, and moving it back would be everyone's preference. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's the staff a bit. I don't know what staff stuff looks like during spring
Yeah.
break, and I would want.
And really, there's not much on the agenda right now for April. We're pretty much done. Really?
Oh, you'll have stuff.
Well, yeah, because we've got another panel due in June, but that's.
Don't be thinking it's going to be.
According to the timeline, we We should be pretty.
Do you have anything else? I know you need to leave.
Yes. I am going to call this meeting adjourned at what time is it? 6:37. Thank you all for your patience and showing up and your participation. Miigwech.